there's still some young individuals who just don't see, and they go against the whole, pretty much that we're attacking men in our community by talking about this kind of stuff in a sense like that. So I think it's just getting them, not so much trying to force our opinions on them, but just getting them to critically think about, stuff they say or their actions or what they say around their friends, and just challenging each other a little.
You know what he said. I mean, I have opportunity to work with young people, in the work that I do helping students go to college. And I think the conversation is for me, is twofold. It's talking to the young men whenever opportunity presents itself about the relationship. And it's also talking with the young women that it's unacceptable in every opportunity when you're talking to young men. And then, to actually live that life, where people see you as not that person who will stand around and watch people aggressively yell at one another, because that's probably where it starts before the smacking gets going. It's just the language is disrespectful. And we got to clean that up too. So just taking those opportunities to clean up the conversation and live that life yourself.
Once again, too, I think it's a lot of education, getting the information, educating yourself. But I think then for me, for myself, is trying to train my mind, renew my mind in different areas about, seeing good jokes or making comments of women. Sometimes I fall into that area, and try to say stop it or stand up and speak against that. And the second thing is having conversation with my sons and other young men who I come in contact with about relationships, and that you don't need to be this certain way towards women, but with society, this thing's a lot of times it's with society, women I should say, but the edification of women is portrayed all the time, socially, so it's tough sometimes, but that's why I look at it.
I think that when an opportunity arises, with your friends, I think they're talking about women or talking about it in a sexual way, it gives you an opportunity maybe to flip it, and they get an opportunity to talk about violence against women and how pervasive that issue is. And the other thing is maybe even to get on a Facebook page, and let people know how violence against women is affecting the lives of families and women all over America and around the world.
For myself, I'd say I think about my own household. I have my kids, so I always have kids in my house. And I think of all the times I've had a bunch of little girls sitting around with my daughters, and we're just having dinner or whatever, and that was an opportunity to talk about maybe a stereotypes and ideas about women, what they can do, what they can't do, how they're supposed to dress, and things like that. And my daughters, I hope, know that every option is available to them, and they don't have to be walking around like a cheerleader. But those other girls that are there, that's may not know. So those are opportunities for us where we're just there to have a conversation and talk about more about what is expected of you as a young woman. What are your possibilities? What kind of career fields you want to go into? I think about my sister, who is a pediatrician, and a little girl was in her office. She was only 3 or 4 years old. She was blind, and my sister said, "Hello, Alexis, Dr. Smith," and Alexis, the blind, said to her, "You're a girl. You ain't no doctor. You're a nurse." So in her mind, at 3 or 4, a woman could not be a doctor. Right. Had to be just a nurse. So something implanted in that young girl's mind. So for me, going forward again, I'd say every opportunity I get to speak to a young girl, a young lady about what she can be, I'm going to take that.
I would say, be a part of the action, help, see women for not just the object, like the opposite of what they said, but actually, seeing them for, people with friends, stuff like that, just seeing them more, not just an object, and once they actually do it, they be eager for the next time when they talk to the next girl, it'll be a lot easier to be their friend and not just
two things. So there's a lot of conversation I overhear about objectifying women, and I never speak to that, and I just pass this by. Now I realize that I'm part of the problem if I don't speak to that. And the other thing is I have a 9-year-old granddaughter who lives with us, and I constantly talk to her about non-traditional careers that women generally can go into, where young girls don't think they go to. They do go into a life position, astronauts. And I'm always talking about, why don't you think about being an astronaut or a physician or something else. So, and of course, since we mentor a lot of kids, that conversation will come up when we're talking about kids, talking to kids also.
I think about what we mentioned about helping folks clean up the conversation. I saw the scene, which I never really thought about, but I do from time to time think about some of the language, some of the behaviors that are sort of embedded in our everyday life, not necessarily things that we say in an aggressive term, but some of the things that, some of the language that we use. For example, everybody is kind of either used, myself included, whether it was a car that had difficulty starting or ran smooth, and it always was she ran smooth or she had trouble starting. Where does that come from? That's right. Or when we use terms like the rule of thumb, understanding that some of these phrases, some of these terms, if you're just using them loosely and not really knowing where they come from, sometimes having that conversation with people is just a matter of kind of waking them up or having them become more aware in a strategic manner, so that they can start thinking about what's being said and what that really means and where that comes from.
I think when with your peers, you should have this conversation about like identifying women and stuff like that. You should it would be a great opportunity to give them like facts about certain women, like domestic violence and like that. Not preaching to them, just let them know little hints here and there about what's going on in the world. And you never know, that probably go a long way. Say you're talking with like 3 or 4 of your friends, and then they go somewhere else and they see that happening. They always have that fact that you told them in the back of their head, so hopefully they'll step in and do
it. I think the biggest thing we have to really look at, all of us in here, are being proactive. And the proactiveness of objectifying women to tell I've dealt with it in several cases and got blowback from it. As far as, somebody putting their hands on somebody and stepped up. So, and almost had to go to blows, in front of my wife, because I didn't like it, okay? So I understand what's happening here. So as I see more than anything is in education and being proactive and telling our young men to listen, guys, we've got to clean this up. This has been going on too long, so we need to be very proactive about it and clean up the verbiage, clean up the belief system, and that's what I'll end it at that. Clean up the belief system.
Well, as for myself, I think it starts at home. So I have a 14-year-old son, so it's continuing the conversation, keeping it consistent, ongoing basis. And I have a 20-year-old daughter, and once again, she's on a college campus, and I think last year the New Times had an article, 1 out of 4 young ladies will be raped on a college campus. So, once again, making sure that she's aware of what's going on, her surroundings, what her options are, and that she doesn't have to take, any of that foolishness from anyone. That she may want a man, but she doesn't have to. She doesn't need a man, especially one that doesn't treat her the way she should be treated. And then also, on my part, being, more observant. when I'm working and talking to people, if it seems as though, maybe the male is getting a little agitated towards the female, I might, try to take someone aside, just ask, is this going to be a domestic issue? Do you need, a call made or what have you, and things like that.
For me, I think it's kind of a new responsibility I've become aware of. How to teach young men how to grow into men without making a comparison to women. You understand what I'm saying? How do you teach a young man to be a man without that comparison? Because we always, like in the video, they talked about how you teach a young man how to deal with something by not acting like a woman. And that's just kind of been instinctive. It's the way I was raised. So now it's about teaching a young man how to be a man, but leave the comparison to a woman out, because that's degrading women. Okay. The second piece that I've become aware of is that we've got to talk to our young ladies, because a lot of our young women have been conditioned to think that they're less than, to think that this behavior in men is acceptable.
I changed my mind when I first.
So now we've got to, have those conversations with young women as well, to say, no, this is not acceptable, and at the same time strengthen who they are as women, their value in society as a whole, and what they can accomplish in terms of their career fields, like Lou was talking about and stuff like that. So it's a daunting task. I realize that, but it's one that I'm willing to take on. And I admit, I'm not going to be perfect at it.
And I think that's going to be the biggest plus.
Ryan just, got me thinking, I call my car Sasha. That's my car. that's my car. That voice, in the navigation system, it's a female voice, and that's Sasha. And Sasha talks to me when I'm on the road.
So most of the navigation system, you can change it to a
I know
but we don't.
I changed my mind when I first bought that car. I guess it was owned by a woman, so it was a male voice. I changed it to a female.
That's right.
So my wife doesn't like the sound of my navigation voice. She said, change it.
So anyway, I think these conversations were good, because, I know it's something, and this isn't the first time I've been involved. I've gone through some of these trainings before. But every time I go through this, every time I'm involved in these conversations, I learn more and more about me. I take a look at changes that I need to make in myself. And I think that's going to be the biggest plus that I'm going to take from here. And particularly for the young men, in the room, you don't know how powerful your behaviors and your actions will be around your friends. And it's going to be hard for you when you're amongst your peers, when you're around your boys. It's going to be hard for you to speak out against what's considered the norm. But the more and more you do that, they may not say nothing right there at that time, but later on they're going to think about it. They're going to think about it. And understand, people, are watching you. Your friends are watching you, both male and female.
What about Kevin?
So we can have a big influence, in just in changing our own behavior.
Kevin, I'm sorry, were you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kevin, you came a little late,
Yeah,
basically.
I'm just kind of piggyback off. I have 2 daughters too, so I look at them with regards to making sure they're focused, understand their self-worth, and also from the aspect of stretching themselves, right? Because there's a lot of images on television, and I'm saying that's not you. That's not where you come from, right? But at the same time, realizing that you have options available to you that others have died for. And, from a career perspective, hey, look, stretch yourself. There's a lot of opportunities out there, but also put yourself in a situation where you can take care of yourself, right? But also be a good helpmate, right? Not be too independent, right? Because I think ideally, if you choose, get married or something like that, it's a balance, right? But at the same time, I'm also saying, hey, put yourself in a situation where you can take care of yourself, and also understand there's a correlation between how hard you work and the type of career that you choose based on your lifestyle. They have to understand that quickly, right? Because you can think you're going to live a certain lifestyle, but if your job occupation doesn't align up with your lifestyle, then there's a disconnect, right? And you want to don't put yourself in a situation where you start supplementing it the wrong way, right? By dealing with a gentleman that is not going to treat you right just because he has a certain income coming in, and I want to live with a certain lifestyle, right? So you got to be able to work on that too. And also with regards to understanding that you have to set your standard. He has to comply or not comply, and then he can be off on his way. But if you set your standard, right, you stand on it like a rock, then you don't have to worry about something, right, with regards to certain type of behavior. If the guy's disrespectful, hey, I'm not taking it. If he wants to be with you, he'll learn how to control that, right? And if he doesn't, then you realize he ain't the one anyway, right? So you got to be able to set those standards and understand it from a woman